folks have questions, we can go ahead and drop them into the chat. And we'll be taking breaks at the different slides to see if any questions have come up. And then at the end, we'll have a bit more of like an open conversation forum where people can come off mic and ask questions. So you're welcome to either drop questions in the chat while we're moving through the presentation, or just save your questions for the end if you prefer to have a more conversational style dialogue about it. And Jessica, I'm just going to ask that you keep eye on the chat and let me know if anything comes up, because I'm not able to view it with this presentation mode, right? Oh, wait, maybe I can. Here we go. No, I'm not able. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for taking some time out of your morning to learn a little bit more about organic cost share reimbursement. I know it's a phrase that gets thrown out a lot, maybe at your inspection or when you're kind of looking online for resources on how to help pay for organics, and it can be a little bit confusing to navigate. So we're using some of our USDA Transition to Organic Partnership Program funding for this presentation, and we're grateful that that program exists. Okay. Let's see. So next we're moving, just a quick agenda. My name is Dominique Mayu, and I work for the NOFA New York Education Department, and I'm located in the Lower Hudson Valley. So I help facilitate a lot of our programs in this region, which are the Transition to Organic and our Climate Smart Farming and Marketing. So you're welcome to reach out to me with any questions about that after the event. I'll have my contact info on our last slide. My background's in organic crop production and as an organic inspector. I've worked for both crops and the processor handler scopes. So I'm excited to see that we have some representation from both on the call, and that the cost share is applicable for everybody. We'll talk about the history. We'll do a little bit of an overview on how to get reimbursement. There's 2 channels you can apply through. That's FSA or Ag and Markets, and then we'll have time for open questions. So cost share began in the 2002 Farm Bill, and it was meant to incentivize farmers and businesses to get certified so that we could help meet domestic organic demand, because that's kind of when consumers really started wanting more organic products on the shelves and in their homes. The current funds are coming from the 2018 Farm Bill. There's been a lot of delay in getting a new Farm Bill out, so we're just continuing to get kind of extensions from that Farm Bill to keep the program running. It does have pretty low participation rates. Overall, we're at about 36% in New York State and 38.5% nationally. And a lot of that is because it is kind of a convoluted application process, and certifiers can't issue the program directly to the folks that we work with, and we're not getting any funding from the USDA to help internalize those programs. But we do need to help producers apply so that we can increase the participation numbers to show that it's an important program that we need to keep not only having in the Farm Bill, but expand, because right now you can get up to $750, maximum 75% of the cost for each scope. So let's say that the inspection and fees cost you $1,000, you could get the full 75% reimbursement at $750. If it was less than $1,000, you wouldn't hit the full $750 reimbursement. If it's more than $1,000, you'd still be capped at $750. But you can have individual applications for your crops, your processor handler, your livestock, or your wild crops. So there are 4 different scopes, depending on what your operation does, that you can use to apply for cost share. So the types of costs that can be covered are anything that's related to your organic certification. So that can be application fees or your annual fees, depending on if you're new or renewal client for organics. It can cover your inspection costs if those are separate from your annual renewer fees. It could cover inspector fees, so any of the reimbursables that your inspector's getting for coming on site. It could reimburse your sales assessments, postage, any type of user fees that you're paying to your certifier. If you're doing an international trade and you need equivalency arrangements, or you're having to get inputs reviewed, anything that you can compile together to hit your $1,000+ to get the full $750 per scope. As far as documents, you'll need a current organic certificate. So if you're a new operation, you have to wait until your certificate's in hand that first year to be able to apply. If you're a renewing operation, then you can use whichever certificate is valid. So let's say you're applying for this year's cost share, you haven't had your inspection yet because of just scheduling, but you've already paid all of your fees for the year. You can use your current certificate and this year's receipts to get your reimbursement. So there's no need to wait until you get a new certificate, so long as you do have a current certificate and receipts for your certification related fees. The cost share annual cycle runs for your fees that you've accumulated from October 1st, 2023 up until September 30th, 2024. And the final due date for the application is October 31st, 2024. At NOFA, I have all the contact info written down on the last slide so that y'all can take it down, but I'm just going to mention that Christina over at our finance department is who will help you all if you need to get additional receipts or organic certificates for this year. Jessica, do we have any questions in the chat?
Not yet.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to apply through FSA. So you'll need to work directly with your local USDA FSA Service Center. I'm happy to run through, after the presentation, as a part of the presentation, how to find that if you all don't know who your office is. If you've ever worked with FSA before, you'll have your FSA number. This usually applies more to growers, but processor handlers can also work through FSA. If you haven't worked with FSA recently or before, you'll have 2 additional forms you'll need to submit. So 80-2047 and SF3881. Those are basically a operational overview, just what's your operation, and a direct deposit form. So it's nothing crazy, not an in-depth additional forms that you have to file, but just so that they have information on your business and information on how to pay you. Everybody will have to submit the organic certificate, receipts for cost, and a completed FSA application form. I'll happily drop some of those links into the chat at the end of the presentation so that folks can, click on them and get them on their computers. Once you fill out the forms and you know who your service center office is, it's a pretty straightforward process. If you're a farm, you will need to get an FSA number. If you're a producer, I'm truthfully not sure if they'll give you an FSA number also, or if just filling out the forms is enough, but they do accept applications for all scopes. And this is the more direct way to apply for cost share. You can also apply through Ag and Markets, but the way that it works is FSA gets the go-ahead to administer the program every year once the funding comes through, and then Ag and Markets has to apply by state with their FSA to be able to also administer the program. So there's always a lag from when FSA opens up its applications and until when Ag and Markets is able to also accept applications. Unfortunately, in New York, they're not yet available. And we've been in contact with them trying to figure out when they will be. Sam, I don't know if you have any updates.
I
Great.
literally just checked and it is up today. It's available
great.
today. I put the link in the chat.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Okay, great. So then that's good. We'll have more information on that for you all. If you've applied through the New York State's Departments of Ag and Market before, you'll get an application in the mail. You're on their list. If you haven't, we have the link to the application form in the chat, and you're able to start that way. You can really work with whoever you like better. If you're a farm and you have a relationship with your FSA office, that can be the easiest route because they already have your information. If you've worked with Ag and Markets before, or you're just more familiar with them, you're welcome to go that route. They both offer the same reimbursement, the same program. It really just depends on if you have a preference as to who you want to work with. Yeah. And that's the main gist of it. Here's my contact information. You're welcome to take that down. We also have a producer helpline that you can call in. We do open office hours every Tuesday, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and anyone can drop in with questions, and our education staff are there to help work through it. This is Christina's direct information. If you need to get copies of certificates or receipts, I'll leave this up for just a moment so folks can take it down.
And Dominique, I'm plugging that into the chat too, the emails.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and stop the slideshow so that I can see everybody better. And I just want to go ahead and see if any other, of our education staff have anything to add, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. Oh, that's a great question. Is how long does the process take? Don't know. Does anybody have direct experience with that, Sam?
I could probably speak to that because so we have an organic farm. We do dairy. I used to apply using the state and fill out the paperwork and send it in with all of the receipts. That process for me was a little bit more paperwork every year. And now we have a relationship with FSA, so it's just a little more expedient. We don't typically file ours until closer to the deadline, like end of October, because by then we've had our inspection usually, so we have all of those receipts. And sometime through FSA, it seems like it's a little faster, which I think is probably because it's just direct. So we'll usually have it by the end of the year. So I guess that's about a 2-month turnaround. Through the state, it seemed like it was usually in January before we got that check. So 2 to 3 months.
Good insight.
But it is a really easy 1-page application, and it's usually receipts that you would already have handy. So it's well worth the time to send it in.
Has anybody started the process this year or need some guidance on where to begin? Feel free to ask questions. either by coming unmuted or typing them into the chat. Yeah, so
So you
when
just
is the
gotta-
best time to start the initial certification process? So if you're not yet certified, I would say that in order to get certificate in hand, unless you're paying for an expedited kind of inspection cycle, give yourself at least 6 months. And that's because there's a lot of process that has to happen even before the inspection. So you've got to make sure that all your systems are ready to go on your operation. Then there's an organic system plan that'll have to be submitted and filled out. And that can just take some time on your end to be able to work through all the questions there and understand the language. Then that'll get submitted with an application packet to initial review at the certifier of your choice. And the reviewers will look through and see what you all have written and then ask any questions that they need clarified. So it can take a little bit of back and forth to land on an agreed upon organic system plan. Once the organic system plan has been reviewed and it seems like everything could be compliant with organic requirements, you'll get passed along to inspection. And usually inspections are scheduled at least a month out. They can be scheduled a little farther, but somewhere around like 1 to 3 months out is the usual inspection time. And then you'll have your on-site inspection. The inspector comes to see if what you all are doing matches what you've said that you're doing in the organic system plan. That gets submitted to a final reviewer who looks everything over. And again, if they have questions or any issues came up at inspection, it takes some time for that back and forth dialogue to get those resolved. And then you'd be getting your certificate once that's all settled. This year has been a little extra lengthy because of strengthening organic enforcement, which is like the largest overhaul to the organic regulations since inception. And so there's just more happening at everybody's level. Operators, certifiers, inspectors, so things are lagging a little bit. So I would say six-ish months. It could be longer, it could be a little less. And so then you'd have your certificate. And so then that means if you wanted to be able to apply for cost share in that year, October 31st, 6 months back, you're looking at applying in April, getting that ball rolling. Sorry for the lengthy response to just give some background. Yeah, so another question in the chat is the potential reimbursement is up to $750 per scope. And does that change year to year or is it always the same? So that depends on what's written into the Farm Bill. So right now it is year over year $750 per scope while it until the new Farm Bill is approved, the only thing that we can do or that can be done is to kind of extend what's already written. And right now that's what's in there. What I know that NOFA and a lot of other certifiers would really like to see is increasing that to $1,500 so that it is more accurately reflects the costs of certification. So it can change. It just has to be updated on a national policy level. I don't know if Katie has any insight into that or wants to add anything. She's our policy manager.
Yeah, that's completely right. We've seen the cost share program at this level for a few years. There was a point when there was some accounting errors at the federal level that dipped it down to 50%, but we were able to get it back up to 750 or 75%. And with the Farm Bill extensions, usually we are able to get like the same amount for the whole program that was allocated for the year previous. So that's 8 million nationwide. And so we'll also be advocating for an increase to that amount when the Farm Bill is extended again, because we know that there's added cost year to year. And so we'll be trying to get a little bit more money for the entire program in the next few months as we learn more about the extension.
Thank you. If anyone has specific questions, feel free. If anybody doesn't know how to access their FSA service center, I could do a quick show of that if there's interest. Get it up.
Yeah, that might be a good thing to show Dominique because
Yeah.
they can potentially be of service to farm businesses that might not realize that they can access their
Mhm.
services.
Absolutely. Okay. Here we go. Um, I'm just Googling New York FSA office, and second hit is FSA's office locator. And so then you can just go in and see, you can choose your county where you're located. I'm in Dutchess. So I just click on the map. And then this lets me know who I need to contact, where the FSA center is located. Okay, so they're in Millbrook. I can have the mailing address if I like to go in person. That's totally an option. You can do this in person at your FSA office, or you can reach out to their main contact via email or phone. And so then you could do that, you know, with any of the counties, and it'll let you all know where your office is located and who you can contact directly to get information. It can be super helpful if you've never worked with FSA, just to get in the system and have your FSA, your farm number, because that's required for any of the other national funding programs, whether you're working with NRCS or you're curious about what we're doing with our climate smart farming. FSA is really baseline for getting to participate in any USDA sponsored programs or funding. So if you don't have a relationship with them yet, it can just be great for your business and your farm for future opportunities to go ahead and create that relationship. Yeah. Right.
And just to throw it out there for farms, they're also a lender. So you can often get lower interest loans as a farm through FSA than you would get through a traditional bank. So it's an option worth looking into.
Anybody else has any other questions, feel free to ask them, or if any of the other educators have any plugs they'd like to make, you can go ahead. Won't hold people here longer than we need to. I want to respect everybody's time. And also make sure that everybody gets to ask any questions and share any information that they have.
I'll pop in the chat the link to our certification cost share program on our website, which I think is probably where this recording will end up being, and it has a lot of the information covered today.
Thank you for that, Katie. I think we should be able to send out an email to everybody who registered with the information that we've talked about, so that you all can have that gathered in one place if you haven't been able to just glean it from the chat. And for anybody watching the recording, we'll put the links on the cost share page on our website. And we do have, as I mentioned, every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m., we have our open office hours. You can find the link to that on our website, and you can bring any questions that you have there, whether it's related to cost share or not. We can help with, certainly we can help with cost share. We can help with questions that you have if you're a new applicant and you're trying to navigate the forms that you're filling out. If there's something going on at your farm or business that you need a little bit of guidance on, but you can't get an answer from certification, since they're not able to advise if they're also certifying. We have a broader ability to help with those types of questions on the education team. So that's a great spot to come with questions that you want to have a dialogue with that might be challenging to get the point across over email, or you just like to have some FaceTime. It's called, thank you, Jessica, it's called the Farmers Forum on our website, but it's open to anybody, whether you're a farmer, producer, handler, importer, dairy, anyone who has questions, we're happy to help you out. And we will have this video recording on the website as well. I don't think I've left any chat questions unattended. Great. I want to thank everyone for coming, and please don't be shy. Keep questions rolling. We're here and happy to help. And once you have your successful application, go ahead, pass the info along to your friends, to your neighbors, so that we can increase our cost share utilization rate to show USDA that this is important, that we continue offering this this program, so we can keep organics affordable and viable and thriving. Great.
Thanks, Dominique.
Thanks, Dominique.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you can be on the lookout for the recording and information about the program today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks.